Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today, based on popular demand, I am going to be looking at the chart of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who have just made the news because they've decided to pretty much disassociate or disconnect from the royal family and move. They're now talking about moving to the United States or Canada, but one way or another, they're leaving England. And I wanted to pull up Prince Harry's chart to show you how you can see what he is experiencing and why. So pulling up Prince Harry's chart, we see that he has Sagittarius as his ascendant. And right there in the first house, he has Jupiter. So Jupiter is in Sagittarius in his first house. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I always look at his eclipses as the major proponent to predicting change in life. So it was December 26, 2019, that we had a solar eclipse that occurred at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. What do we have up here that's 9 degrees of Sagittarius? His Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet that rules him, because whatever planet rules your ascendant, so Jupiter rules Sagittarius, therefore it's a ruler of his ascendant, is your chart ruler. It's huge. It's so important as to tell you where you're going in your life throughout life. So a major solar eclipse, and remember eclipses are really in effect for a year, but it just happened. And soon after, he decides, he and his wife, his new wife, Meghan Markle, that they are going to move. And why is that? Jupiter in his chart not only rules his ascendant, his first house, but it also rules his fourth house, which deals with your home, where you're living, your residence. So this is what created such a radical move. I mean, this doesn't happen. This is a first. And another thing is, wherever we're having eclipses is because that's where Rahu and Ketu are. So Rahu being the north node of the moon and Ketu being the south node of the moon, we have transiting Rahu in his seventh house of marriage. That is a focal point. And what just changed in his life? He got married. About a year ago or so, give or take. But this is a huge life change. And Rahu, as it transits into a seventh house, he's in a situation of married life. Now that throws Ketu, the opposite of Rahu, in his first house. And Ketu is getting ready to back up over Jupiter, where the eclipse degree was. And this is another radical shift. So we haven't seen the end of the likes of where this is all going. And maybe even more specifically, deeper, why? Why are they wanting to move and get away from the royal family? There's some deep stuff going on here, because his Jupiter resides right where the eclipse is, and Ketu's going to cross over it in March and April. But you're going to see a lot surface at that time. This is gigantic. So I'm also getting that transiting Saturn, as it's just shifted into the sign of Capricorn, it's gone into his second house, which rules what? Family. And he is disconnecting by moving away from his family, the royal family. This is a big deal. Now, with this, we know there's some secrets and things where the nodes and the eclipses bring up things we didn't see or we didn't know about. Let's push this across Meghan Markle's chart to see how this is affecting her, what this is about from her vantage point. So let's put up Meghan's chart. And here we have Meghan has a Cancer ascendant, which when I look to where Rahu is transiting for her and the eclipses, Rahu is in her 12th house. And Rahu has crossed over her Mars, which is in the 12th house, and her Mars is in Gemini. So the 12th house is things behind the scenes and you don't know. Well, she did just move to a foreign country by marrying Prince Harry because the 12th house rules foreign lands and countries. But they're going to move again. And with K2 being in her 6th house, she feels like a lot of the people I'm getting by looking at her chart, a lot of the people she feels don't like her. There's something about enemies. The 6th house is enemies. That's where the eclipse is occurring. And the 12th house is foreign lands and countries and secret enemies. So I get that the Rahu in the 12th, but the K2 with Jupiter, and let's not forget the months of February and March, Mars will be with Jupiter and K2 in Sagittarius. So Mars being in her 6th house, she is not feeling very comfortable. And when we look at where Saturn is really the determiner of where I think this could go and the issues and problems that are going to be stirred up for this royal couple. Because notice now Saturn's just entered into Capricorn, where it will remain for the next 2.5 years. And it's just transited into her 7th house. What is the 7th house? Marriage partners. So this is intense to consider the fact that transiting Saturn will be in her marriage house. Saturn is difficult. Saturn represents problems. Now Saturn's going to roll over K2 in the 7th house. And as this evolves over the next year, we're going to see some difficult situations for her concerning this marriage. It's just what Saturn does. Now, does Saturn always predict divorce when it's in the 7th house? Not always. But let me just say this. If you can weather that storm, you can weather anything. So Saturn for the next 2.5 years not only is going to be in Megan's 7th house of marriage, but it's going to oppose all of her 1st house planets, which are the Sun, which are Mercury, and which is where she has Rahu. So Saturn's going to be coming over her K2 and opposing Sun, Mercury, Rahu. That's contentious. That's a lot to deal with. And let me say this, in the months of March and April, as we have transiting Mars coming together with Saturn in her 7th house, there's going to be a lot of conflict concerning her relationship and marriage. And I might even suspect that her thoughts are, if they move, if she takes him out of where she has more contention and enemies, if she can take him away from this, then she can save this marriage. But we'll see over the course of the next 6 months, and particularly the next 3 months, while Mars and Saturn come together in her 7th house, there's going to be some blow-ups. There's going to be some contention and problems. So let's just say there's a lot that's coming up for them over the course of this year and even headed into the next 2 years, because I was even just noticing that Prince Harry has his moon in Aries, and that's where Uranus is due to cross over in about 2 years. So there is so many things coming up for the two of them. Let's just pray for their happiness, because they've got a lot to contend with, especially all of the difficulties that are arising and hitting the royal family. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information about me or a consultation, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to take your learning of Vedic astrology to the next level, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.